Okay, hi guys. Let's go through each one of these types of problems to get you ready for your test on Monday. Remember, this is the formula sheet that you are going to be given. Exactly like it looks is exactly what you're going to get. So, parabola, remember your H and your K is your vertex. The P value is the distance from the vertex to the focus or to the directrix. It's equidistant. Remember, a parabola opens towards the focus. With the ellipse, if you notice with an ellipse, the bigger denominator is going to determine if it's a vertical or horizontal. And you'll use that c squared equals a squared minus b squared to find values. With the hyperbola, there's a minus sign in the middle. And whatever the first value is, because a is going to always be first, that's going to determine if it's a vertical or a horizontal hyperbola. And remember, a is the distance from the center to the vertices, and your c is your distance from your center to your foci. And we need to remember in our equations of our asymptotes, which is going to be the vertical and which is going to be the horizontal. Your horizontal is going to be your b over a. This is your horizontal. And your vertical is going to be your a over b. So you guys need to know that. I am not going to tell you that, but you need to know that. So make sure that you guys are aware of that. As far as your test, you're going to have 10 multiple choice questions, and then you're going to have 2 that are free response. Those free response, you're going to have to identify all the parts of and graph one parabola. So one parabola and one hyperbola. So I'm telling you exactly what to expect for your test on Monday. That means, whoa. Excuse me. So if we go through here, let's talk about and let's look at what we're dealing with first. If I look at number 1, obviously, if I look at my formula sheet, I have a parabola, I have a vertex, a parabola, an ellipse, or a hyperbola. I can determine what this is, but I can also determine it by the directions, guys. Look, it says graph the parabola. So you know right away what you are dealing with. Since I have y minus 6 equals x minus 7 squared, I would go ahead and rewrite this as x minus 7 squared equals y minus 6. Let's go ahead and write it in standard form. We don't want to try and confuse ourselves with anything. Excuse me. So the letter that is squared is x squared. So this is telling me it's either an up or a down parabola. And since it is positive, it's going to be an up. Okay, that's a very important information for you guys to go ahead and determine. Then I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, what is the h? What is the letter or the number that is with the x part of the vertex? It's going to be 7. And then the other part would be what's with the y. That's going to be 6. So my vertex is going to be at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My vertex is here. And I know it's opening upwards. That's very important information. So the next thing I need to find, because I'm trying to find, I already found the vertex. This is my vertex. I need to find my focus and my directrix, right? My focus is going to be inside my parabola, and my directrix is going to be this line outside that opens up away. So how do we find that? Well, we need to find our p value. So I say 4p equals, what number is right in front of here? It's a 1. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and my p value equals 1/4. So that means my focus is going to be 1 up, the 1/4 up from my vertex, and my directrix is going to be 1/4 down. So my focus is actually going to be at 7 and 6 1/4, and my directrix is going to be at the equation y equals 5 3/4. We're going to move up because of we're going towards the focus and away from the directrix. Your axis of symmetry is just that vertical line that cuts your parabola in half. So your axis of symmetry, your AOS, would be x equals 7. All right, let's look at number 2. All right, first thing I have here, I see, oh, okay, I have y squared first, but I have this negative sign here. So I need to divide both sides by -1 to get y minus 6 squared equals -8, x minus 7, all by itself. So if we're going to identify the vertex here, my vertex, what is the number that is with the x? That would be 7. What is the number that's with the y? That's going to be 6. So my vertex is at 7, 6. When I think about my p-value, I'm going to say 4p equals negative 8. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I get p equals negative 2. Now, if I have a y squared, that means I'm opening either left or right. So think about this. If my p-value is negative, I'm opening towards the left. So if I have a vertex at 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm opening to the left, I know my focus is somewhere inside the parabola, and my directrix is on the other side, on the outside. The axis of symmetry, this line that's going to cut my parabola in half, is going to be at x equals 6. So if my p-value is negative 2, that means that my focus is going to move to here. Oops. So right here. And then my directrix is going to move to the other way, so it's going to be this line here. So my focus is going to be at 4, 7. And my directrix is going to be at the line x equals 9. All right, good. So now again, we look here, I have a y squared. Y squared is going to tell me I'm going to open left or right. It's positive, so I'm opening to the right. I can say that my vertex is going to be at, what's the x part? It's going to be at positive 7, and my y part's at positive 5. And how far away is the vertex from the focus and the directrix? Well, we're going to say 4p equals 20, so p equals 5. So that means when I have my vertex at 7, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my vertex. My pen decided to not work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here's my vertex. So my p-value, since I know I'm opening to the right, if I go over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's going to be my focus, and my directrix is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. So that would tell me that my focus is at 12, 5, and my directrix is at x equals 2. So you're always going to go, remember your vertex is equidistant from the focus to the vertex, from the vertex to the directrix. They're equidistant, they're in the middle. So here we go. Let's write the equation of our parabola. Let's think about what we're looking at. It says parabola, so I know it's a parabola. My vertex is at 0, 0. My focus is at 5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Think about this, guys. This is your focus. You're at the origin, and you're opening to the right. You're opening towards the focus. So your p-value is positive. How far are you from the vertex to the focus? You're 5 spaces. So this is a y squared equals, because you're opening left and right, and then I have 4p times x. So I have y squared equals 4 times 5 times x. So my equation is y squared equals 20x. Again, draw a picture. Your vertex is at 0, 0. Now on my directrix is at y equals 3. So 1, 2, 3. I have this boundary line at y equals 3 that my parabola is opening away from. So if my directrix is at positive 3, then that means my focus is at negative 3. That's my focus. So what is the distance from the vertex to the focus? It's negative 3. I know this is an x squared because we're opening up and down. So I have 4p times y. X squared equals 4 times negative 3 times y. So the equation of this parabola is x squared equals negative 12 times y. All right, last one. Again, let's draw a picture. My vertex is at the origin. I'm not moving left, right, or anything. It's symmetric to the x-axis, meaning the x-axis cuts it in half, and it passes through the point 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So up here. Now, what does that tell me? Since it is symmetric to the x-axis, that means the x-axis, this axis right here, cuts your parabola in half. That means you know it has to be a sideways facing parabola. It's a right-handed sideways facing parabola. That means it's a positive y squared. That also means that your p-value is positive. So you have a 4 p-value. So I'm going to go ahead and write, I have y squared equals 4p times x. Now, what do I do with the information they give me? I know the origin. I know it's my center or my vertex at 0, 0, but they gave me this point, 3 and 6. Let's go ahead and plug it in. So I'm going to say 6 squared equals 4p. I don't know what p is. I'm trying to find it. Times 3. So 36 equals 12p. Divide both sides by 12, and p equals 3. So now that I know what p equals, I can take it in and plug it right there. So my equation of this parabola is y squared equals 4 times 3 times x. So y squared equals 12x. That means, okay, moving along. Again, I think my daughter scribbled a little bit on my document here, so I apologize, but we're going to go ahead and plot our vertex. It's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5. So obviously we're off the origin, but I know my h value and my k value. My h is 4 and my k is negative 5. That's very important information. I also know that my focus is at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 3. So which way does your parabola open? We're always going to open towards the focus. So this is a positive x squared parabola. So I can go ahead and say, all right, well, I have x minus, what's the h part? 4 squared equals 4p times y minus k. When you have minus a negative, it gives you a positive. So x minus 4 equals 4p times y plus 5. Now, what is the p-value? How far is it, guys, from the vertex to the focus? Well, it's 2 units. So I know that my p-value right here that I'm going to plug in, my pen keeps shutting off, is 2. So my equation of my parabola is x minus 4 equals, 4 times 2 is 8p times y plus 5. You take your vertex, throw it in there, and then figure out what direction. If you have a positive p, you're going up or right. If you have a negative p, you're going down or left. All right, so let's plot our vertex. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, negative 5. And my directrix is at x equals negative 1. Well, over here is x equals negative 1. So think about this, guys. If you have a directrix where x is negative 1, you open towards the focus and away from the directrix. So we have a rightward facing parabola. That's going to give me a y squared. So this is y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. Well, we already know our h and k. We already know this is y minus a negative, so plus 5 squared equals 4p times x minus 4. And then what is our p-value? How far is it, guys, from positive 4 to negative 1? Well, it's 4 units here and then 1 here, so it's a total of 5. So my p-value that I'm going to plug in right here is 5. So when I write this equation out, it's y plus 5 squared equals 5 times 4 is 20 times x minus 4. All right, good deal, good deal. All right, let's look at our next set of problems. We are dealing here with ellipses. I know it's an ellipse for 2 reasons. One, it says graph the ellipse. But secondly, I see I have my x squared and my y squared, and then I have a plus sign in the middle. When I have a plus sign in the middle, that's my ellipse. So when we have an ellipse, our plus sign in the middle, the bigger denominator determines if we're vertical or horizontal. Since my denominator underneath my y value is bigger, I know this is going to be a vertical. So I know that a squared equals 49, so a is going to be plus or minus 7. I know then that b squared is 16, so I know that b is plus or minus 4. if we're going to determine c squared, we have c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So I have a squared is 49 minus 16. C squared equals 33. So C equals plus minus the square root of 33. Now, where is the square root of 33? Well, it's in between. Square root of 25 is 5, and square root of 36 is 6. So it's in between 5 and 6. So when it asks us to find the center, I know my center is at 0, 0, because we're not adding or subtracting anything here. So I know my center is here. My vertices are going to be my A value that I have to add and subtract, and my foci is my C value that I add and subtract. Since it's a vertical, we're going to add and subtract to the Y. So to find my vertices, I'm going to add and subtract my A value. So my vertices are, so this is my B value, not my A. So I'm gonna add and subtract 7. So my vertices are going to be at 0, 7, and 0, negative 7. So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then my foci should be inside of my ellipse. So we're going to, again, add and subtract to the y. So it's 0, positive square root of 33, and 0, negative square root of 33. And we just talked about that. Square root of 33 is going to be in between 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish, right here, inside. Now my co-vertices are going to be my B value. So my co-vertices are going to be at 4, 0, and negative 4, 0. Your co-vertices are the ones that, aren't the most important. Those are the ones that are on the opposite of all the major stuff. So this is going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, negative 4. And then when you draw your ellipse, it looks something like this. All right, same thing with number 10. I look and I say, okay, which denominator is bigger? Obviously the 18 is bigger, so I know this is a horizontal. But wait a second, this is not set equal to 1. So can I just go ahead and do all that? No. Make sure you catch yourself, guys. What do I have to do first? I have to divide everything by 2 because I need this to be set equal to 1. So this is going to become x minus 1 squared over 36 when you keep change flip, 18 times 2. And then plus y plus 4 squared over 16 when you keep change flip, and then I have 1. So now I can say, oh, wait a second. Yes, this still is a horizontal, which is what we said it was from the beginning. But remember, you've got to be set equal to 1. What is this value here? 36. 36 is your a squared. So if a squared is 36, then a equals plus or minus 6. If b squared equals 16, then b is plus or minus 4. Remember, a, we think vertices. B, we think co-vertices. So let's talk about our center. Well, where is our center? Are we at 0, 0? No, we are not. We've moved off 0, 0. So I have my center right here. It's the opposite of what's in the formula. So I have my center's at 1, negative 4. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here is my center. So since this is a horizontal, all of our major stuff, which would be our vertices and our foci, are going to move left to right. So let's find our C value. In this equation, we have c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So I have, 36 minus 16 gives me 20. So c squared is 20. So c equals plus or minus 2 root 5. So now I look at this and I say, okay, here's my center. How did I move left and right, up and down? Where did I move? Whatever. So my vertices are going to be left and right. So I'm going to add and subtract my a value to my x. So I'm going to add and subtract 6. So my vertices are going to be at 7, negative 4 and negative 5, negative 4. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are my vertices. So then my foci, they're going to land somewhere inside of my ellipse. But again, I'm going to be adding and subtracting to my x value. So it's going to be 1 plus 2 root 5, comma, negative 4, and 1 minus 2 root 5, comma, negative 4. So somewhere inside. I'm not crazy about where you put it. Just make sure it's in the right spot. And then my covertices. Well, my covertices are going to be my b value. So that's where I'm going to add and subtract my b value to my y. So my covertices are going to be at 1, comma, 0 and 1, comma, negative 8. 1, 0, and 1, here. And then when we draw, we have a nice little horizontal ellipse. So here, instead of taking the equation and graphing, we're going to take all the stuff on the graph, and then we're going to write the equation. So again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So my vertices are at 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, and then at 2, negative 2. So I know that, hey, my vertices are on top of each other. That makes this a vertical, and I have to find the center. In order to find the center, I got to find the middle of those two things. So 4 plus negative 2 is 2. Divided by 2 gives me 1. So my center is at 2, comma 1. There's my center. So your center, guys, is at 2, comma 1. Now you can just look at that. You can count how far it is, however you want to do it. But your center is at 2, 1. And you know it's vertical. So you know this is going to be y minus 2 squared plus x minus 1 squared. And then this needs to be over our A and our B. So how do we find this stuff? Well, our A value, remember A is your distance from your vertices to your center to your vertices. So from my center to my vertice, 4 to 1 is 3. So my A value is going to be 3 squared, which is 9. Now, how do I find my B? Well, I don't know my foci. I don't know what to do. They told me here, guys, your minor axis. When they tell you the minor, you say 2B equals whatever they give you 4. So B equals 2. So I know that B squared is going to be 4. It's like a big old puzzle that you guys are solving. If I look here at this question, again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. My vertices are at 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And negative 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you know then where your center is. Your center is going to be right here at the origin because your vertices are equidistant. You also know the foci, plus and minus 3. So here's one here, and here's one here. Let's think about the letters they just gave us. If I have my vertices, I know my A value is plus or minus 5. If I know my foci, I know my C value is plus or minus 3. So how could we find our B value? Well, A squared minus B squared. So I have 3 squared equals 5 squared minus B squared. 9 equals 25 minus B squared. Minus 25 from both sides. So you have negative 16 equals negative B squared. So B squared equals 16. B equals plus or minus 4. So if you're going to write your equation, you know you're at the origin. You know you are right here on your horizontal axis. So you know that your denominator that's going to be bigger is going to be your x. So I have x squared over a squared, 25, plus y squared over my b squared is 16 equals 1. Okay, guys, now we're moving on to a hyperbola. So we look at this hyperbola. How do we know? Obviously, it says hyperbola. But another way we know is that we have a minus sign here. So I can see right off the bat, number 13, that my hyperbola is not at the origin. My center is going to be at, excuse me, positive 2, negative 1. So I know that since A is first here, this is going to be a horizontal. All right, this is really important information for you guys to write down and to think about. So my center here is at 2, 1. There's my center. I know it's a horizontal. So I know that a squared is 16, which means a is plus or minus 4. That means I'm going to add and subtract the 4 to the x value since it's horizontal. I know that my b value is 25. B squared is 25, so b is plus or minus 5. Well, how do we find c? How do we find that foci? It's a squared plus b squared. So I have 16 plus 25. C squared equals 41. So my C value is plus minus square root of 41. So now find the center. We did that right here. Find the vertices. That means I'm going to add and subtract what number to what letter. I'm going to find my vertices. I'm going to add and subtract 4 to the x value. So 2 plus 4 is going to give me 6 comma negative 1. And 2 minus 4 is going to give me negative 2 comma negative 1. So let's go ahead and plot those. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down. Put my center in the wrong spot. Ay, ay, ay. Mrs. Meadows, what are you doing? I went up instead of down, guys. It's Friday night. I'm tired. So over 2, down 1. And then my other vertex, is at negative 2, negative 1. Okay, so here's my 2 vertices. Can I find my foci? Yes, I can add and subtract positive root 41 and negative root 41. Do I know exactly where that is? No, but I can say it's going to be somewhere on this left-hand side, out here, and somewhere out here, because I know my branches open towards the foci and they go through the vertices. And I know this is a horizontal, so it's going to open left and right. Now my equation of the asymptote for my, for my asymptotes here. Since this is a horizontal, what is the equation of my asymptote? Well, think about it. It's going to be, is it b over a or is it a over b? Asymptote is going to be b over a for horizontal, so it's going to be 5 over 4. So from my center, I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is one of my asymptotes. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then draw my asymptotes here. And now I know the boundary lines. I know where my branches are going to go through the vertex, get really close to the asymptotes, and not touch. Same thing on this side. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to get close to the asymptotes, not touch it, and open towards the focus. So again, I look here and I'm like, okay, is this an X or a Y, whatever. Ding, 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 ding. What's the problem here? I am not starting off equal to 1. So I've got to now, instead of divide everything, I'm going to have to multiply. Let's multiply this whole thing by 2. So when I multiply this whole thing by 2, well, when I say this, 2 divided by 32 is going to give me y minus 2 squared over 16 minus 2 divided by 50 is going to give me x plus 1 squared over 25. And then 2 times 1/2 is going to give me 1. So this is everything I need to know. Everything I need to know. Since this is a hyperbola, I know that my a squared is first. So a squared equals 16. A equals plus or minus 4. B squared is second, so b squared is 25. B equals plus or minus 5. C squared is going to be my a squared plus my b squared. So again, my c squared is going to be 41. So then c equals plus minus square root 41. All right, where is my center? Well, guys, don't get fooled with this. Remember, the x part of your center is always with the x, so it's right here. It's negative 1 comma positive 2. So your center is at negative 1, 2. It's right here. So I look and I say, oh, my y is first. That means I have a vertical. The branches are opening up and down. Very important. So understand that your vertices, when you add and subtract your a value, it's going to go to the y, not the x. So I'm going to add and subtract 4 to my y value to find my vertices. So my vertices, if I add 4 and 2, I get negative 1 plus 6. If I say 2 minus 4, I get negative 1 minus 2. So negative 1, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, negative 2 is here. All right, good. To find your foci, guys, you're going to add and subtract to your y value. So it's just going to be negative 1 comma 2 plus square root of 41 and negative 1 comma 2 minus the square root of 41. Again, I am not concerned that you know exactly where that is. Just know that it's going to be above and below because your branches are going to open towards the foci, through the vertex, towards the foci. So they're going to open up and down. So the next thing we need to find is our equation of our asymptote. And for our asymptotes, if we're going to look at this and say, ooh, it is a vertical, your asymptote ratio is going to be A over B or B over A. All right, let's look at it. It's going to be A over B. So from the center, I'm going to go A over B. Well, what's my A? My A value is 4, and my B value is 5. So I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is one of your asymptotes. And again, we're going to do the same thing and put the opposite direction. So go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we go. So as we draw the branches, we draw what our graph looks like. Our branches are going to go through the vertex, close to the asymptotes, but not touch it, towards the focus. Same thing. Through the vertex, don't touch. If you're asked to write the equation, your equation would be y equals, well, think about this. It's going to be 2, which is my k value, plus or minus, what was your ratio? 4 over 5 times x minus, what's your center? Negative 1, so it'd be x minus the negative is going to give me plus 1. You just take your center and whatever your ratio is, A over B, B over A, and plug it into the formula. All right, lastly, guys, we're going to go, instead of giving the equation, graph all the stuff, we're going to go the opposite direction. And again, the best thing you can do, and I've told you this all week and last week, is to draw a picture. It's telling you to do the equation of the hyperbola, so you already know the equation that you're looking at. You can look at your formula sheet. But first thing I do is I say, oh, my vertices are at 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know right away that this is what kind of a hyperbola. This is a vertical. How do I know it's vertical? Because my vertices are on the y-axis. My foci is at positive and negative 7 on the y-axis. So I have a foci here and I have one here, which goes in, just goes right along with what we're saying, that it's a vertical. We open towards the foci. So when they tell us our vertices, I know that my center is at 0, 0 because your center has to be equidistant from the vertices. So if I'm going up 5 and down and 5, excuse me, I know that my vertices are going to be equidistant from 0, 0. Since it's a vertical, I know that y squared is going to come first over a squared plus x squared over b squared equals 1. So these two letters I already know. I already know that my A is plus or minus 5, and I already know my C is plus or minus 7. So how do we find B? Well, C squared equals A squared plus B squared. C squared is 49 equals A squared is 25 plus B squared. I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides, and I get B squared equals 24. So some of you are like, oh, now I have to break down 24 squared. Guys, think about it. What are you looking for in this formula? You're looking for B squared. You're looking for A squared. So you don't need to break down that radical. You can just say, oh, okay, I know what I need. Y squared over what's your A? 25, oops, plus X squared over what's your B squared? 24 equals 1. I didn't mean to put a plus. This should be a minus. Yeah. Hyperbolas, minus in the middle. All right, 16. What are we talking about here? All right, so 3, -2, and asymptotes. So what are they telling me? 3, -2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is a CV. And then 7, -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -2 is another covertice. Well, what do we know about covertices? Are those important? Are those on the major stuff? Or are those on the ones that aren't so important? Those are the ones that aren't so important. So it looks like this is a horizontal because they gave us some important information, but they gave me the covertices. Those are the ones that are minor, that aren't so important. So that's telling us, ooh, this is actually a vertical hyperbola because they gave me the that's the B value. So how do I find the center? Well, everything, your covertices, your vertices, and your foci are equidistant from the center. So we're going to take our 3 plus 7 and divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my center is going to be at 5, -2. Plot it on a graph, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -2. It's right here in the middle. So I know that this is my center. We just said that this was a vertical. So this is my H, this is my K. I'm going to say y minus a negative, so y plus 2 squared minus x minus 5 squared equals 1. And then I need to find my A value and my B value. Well, I already know C. How far is it from the center to one of these spots, left and right? My B value is 2. So now how can I find something else? Well, what else did they tell me? Well, look here. They told me equations of the asymptote. Since I have a vertical asymptote, what is my relationship? What is the ratio here with that number in front? It's A over B. So I'm going to set whatever's in front here equal to 5 over 1 equals A over B. Well, what did we already discover? We discovered that B was 2. So I can say A over 2 equals 5 over 1. If we cross multiply here, I get A equals what number? 10. So I can say, well, A squared is 100. How do I know what B squared is? Because I already figured it out. So 2 squared is 4. There's my equation. You will always have enough information to find. All right, lastly, guys, I'm going to go through number 17. Again, draw a picture. I have my vertices at 0, 6. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And at 0, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -6. If I am up and down the same amount from the origin, I know that I have a hyperbola here that is centered at the origin. Since my vertices are on the y-axis, I know this is a y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. Now, they did not give me equations of asymptotes. They didn't give me foci. They gave me this random point that your hyperbola passes through. They gave you an x and a y. Go ahead and solve. We know what our A value is. How far is it from your center, from your vertex, from however you want to say it, from your vertex to your center to your vertex? Your A value is plus or minus 6. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, they gave me -8 for a y squared. I know 6 squared. Minus, they gave me 2 squared over b squared equals 1. And now we just math. -8 squared is 64 over 36 minus 4 over b squared equals 1. Now I need to take 64 over 36 and move it to the other side. So before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 36 over 36. So minus 64 over 36 minus 64 over 36. I get -4 over b squared equals -28 over 36. Now, you can go ahead and cross multiply from this point, but I'm going to go ahead and simplify a little bit. I know that 4 goes into both of these numbers, so I have -7 over 9. This makes my math a little easier. Now we can cross multiply. Use a different color. So if I'm going to cross multiply, I have -7b squared equals -36. Divide both sides by -7, and I get b squared equals 36 over 7. And you guys are like, oh my gosh, I got to take the square root and all that. You really don't, guys, because look, You need b squared for your equation. You don't need b. So you have b squared, which is 36 over 7. You have a, which is 6, so a squared is 36. So you know your equation is going to be y squared over a squared, 36, minus x squared over 36 over 7 equals 1. And the last thing we need to do, because that doesn't look pretty, is we're going to go ahead and keep, change, flip here. So it's y squared over 36 minus, when I keep, change, and then flip, I get 7x squared over 36 equals 1. And there you go. I cannot impress upon you enough, guys. I'm going to give you the formulas. I'm going to give you everything you need, but you have got to know what A means, what B means, what C means, how to determine horizontal, vertical, all that good stuff. Again, if you have any questions over the weekend, please feel free to take a screenshot of things, send it to me via email. I will work it out, send it back to you, and answer everything I can. I will see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend.